Hello, everybody, and welcome to Red Wings Daily, presented to you by FanArch. I'm your host, Kirk MckNight, coming to you from the Pacific Northwest, 2,454 miles from Little Caesars Arena. Now, it's our first Monday show of the program, so we will unravel a new segment, League Laundry. Before we get to the Red Wings win over the Blue Jackets, League Laundry discusses some of the events that have happened in the NHL over the past week. Now, two big events, two big milestones for two big milestone players. Alexander Ovechkin arrived on the top 10 list all-time in scoring with his hat trick and multi-point performance last week. So he's on the top 10 now. He's obviously top one goal scored, but now he's in the top 10 of points scored. Sidney Crosby, who's already been on that list for some time now, had his own little milestone over the weekend by scoring multiple points for the 500th game in his career. Now that's 6 seasons plus 8 games worth of multiple point games. Unbelievable. But those two things aside, Mikko Rantanen has really hogged the headlines over the last few days after his hit on Alexander Romanov of the Islanders. Romanov went to the boards courtesy of Rantanen late in the game, and Rantanen received a game misconduct as a result of the hit. Talking in the post-game press conference, he said that he didn't intend to do that. We can maybe give him the benefit of the doubt. But 2 games later, here he comes at Coronado for the Flames and boards him. And this is no accidental. This is no I've been pushed and I got pushed into you and I push you. No, this is him going straight after him to the point that Huberdeau just went on the attack immediately after the hit. Rantanen gets another game misconduct. That's his second before the halfway point of the season. That earns you an automatic suspension, folks. So I want to look back at some of the big hits that have happened, some of the big hits that were talked about in my book, The Voices of Hockey, Broadcasters Reflect on the Fastest Game on Earth. Now, Rantanen's does not pale in comparison to these, but the hit on Coronado, I will say, it was very ugly. Now, it's not Claude Lemieux on Chris Draper in the 1996 Western Conference Final ugly, but it was pretty ugly. It's not Martin McSorley on Donald Brashear in 2000, or Ty Domi on Scott Niedermayer in 2001, or even Scott Stevens on Paul Kariya in the 2003 Stanley Cup Final. But ugly it still was, and it definitely is not going to be chalking up the excuse of I did not intend for that to happen. So rightly, deservedly so, Rantanen's going to serve his suspension. It surprises me, though, because this is the hit on Romanov was his first ever time where he's received a game misconduct. So it is kind of surprising to see that that he does it twice in 3 games. Pretty incredible. But now let's turn our attention back to the Red Wings. Now, the Red Wings beat the Columbus Blue Jackets in overtime Saturday. It was a game in which the Red Wings had trailed by 2 goals. They scored 3 straight, 2 in the third and the 1 in overtime. Honestly, it was a very collected effort. It was definitely a night for the D-men, like we had noticed that Werenski, one of the better defensive players in the league for the Blue Jackets, he had a goal. But also 2 goals from the defensive players of the Red Wings, Sherratt and Seider. Seiders was the equalizer. And then guess what? Sherratt factored in on DeBrincat's game winner in overtime. So not only that, the 2 rookies combined to set up Mo for that game tire. So these are a lot of factors that are really a positive note for moving forward. The fact that we're having these rookies kind of come in here. Finns was one of them, and Danielson was the other that helped set up Seider for that game-tying goal in about the 13 minutes into the third period. Another note to pass along is the fact that Patrick Kane had another 2 points, so he's sitting at 1,354 in his career. He's just 20 shy of Mike Modano. Now, let's keep something in mind, folks. He's only 20 points shy of Modano. Modano played 1,499 games in his career. And Showtime has only played 1,315. So, I'm not sure if he's going to catch him on the goals list. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But staying healthy most definitely will be able to catch him on the points list, maybe even this season. So kudos to Showtime, because yet another 2-point game for him. It's great to see him effective and still contributing, especially with his old pal DeBrincat getting the game winner. So we got that connection once again. How many times in Chicago and Detroit have we heard those words, DeBrincat and Kane connecting on a goal? Now, one of the things that happened on the broadcast that I'd like to note was Ken Daniels, after DeBrincat's game winner, saying on the broadcast, and they all go to Talbot saying, "Thank you for keeping us in this one." Now, Talbot will be our spotlight player of this episode, because the goaltender is now 9-2, including two wins on the shootout and a perfect 7-for-7 saves in the shootout. I keep talking about that, but being 9-2, obviously a huge contributor to the Red Wings' success this year. One thing about Talbot, some of the numbers that aren't as impressive as that record would be his save percentage. It's only at .899, not even at the 900 mark. A lot of times some of the premier and top goaltenders will be at that .930, .925 mark or things like that. His goal against average is 2.66. Again, not a number that's really knocking him dead. But Talbot's is 9-2. They seem to be winning, and he seems to be keeping them in the game. That's why Daniel said that, saying, thank you for keeping us in this game, because when you look at it, the Red Wings were down by 2 goals 8 minutes into the third period. And the way that things have been happening in the history with the Red Wings as of late is they get in that hole like that, and even if the goaltender is really doing a spectacular effort, another goal or two slips away, and then it becomes out of reach. It was still in reach. 2 goals is not a huge mountain to overcome in a game, and they were able to do it quick. I think they were about 2.5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes max between the second and third goal of the game to tie it and force overtime. So Talbot, he's played for 13 other teams. No, in his 13 season career, he's played for 8 teams, and the longest tenure he's had for any team was with Edmonton, and that was 4 seasons. So he's been jumping around. This is his second season with Detroit. Obviously, a 9-2 record is nothing to sneeze at. So we're hoping that continues to build the momentum. We're still hoping for Gibson to get a couple of wins to get himself at the 500 mark. He's 4-6-1, whereas Talbot is 9-2. But the Red Wings are still in first place. They're still a point ahead of, I believe it's Boston is still the one trailing them, especially after their win against the Kings. But the Red Wings, I think, have a game in hand against Boston. So that's another thing moving forward. You have the point up and you have a game in hand. So good things moving forward. Like I mentioned before, rookies contributing on this. The D-men scoring. Sherratt being effective in 2 of those goals, one as a scorer, one as an assister. But also the rookies contributing the way they are. Now, folks, this comes to the part of the program that I like the most, the no-cap recap. A lot of times I like to use McClellan for the no-cap recap, because we like to really just picture a guy like McClellan who's so serious-faced most of the time and no nonsense. And we really like to hear what it would sound like for his words to be thrown through an AI slang translator. So today's no-cap recap is McClellan talking about DeBrincat's snipe, which honestly was, what a beautiful top shelf kind of goal. Not the kind of one that you see where it knocks the Gatorade bottle out of the top, but still, the fact that it got past the goaltender and into the back of the net, game winner. I mean, it may have been ugly, but hey, it won the game. So here's what McClellan had to say. We had the power play earlier and we wanted to move it around. Lo and behold, the other unit goes out there and it just gets simple. Fire a puck. Somebody's in around the net for a tip, a screen, a deflection, or rebound just to create chaos, and it goes in the net. Then he follows up on a block shot, but all that traffic's going towards the net. Goaltenders can feel stuff coming at them, trying to sort it out, and it ends up in the net. As my sons would say the bar down plays are fun to watch on FanDuel, but the ugly ones count too. We need them. Throwing that in the slang translator, we got, Yo, we had that power play earlier and we were trying to cycle it, but word, the other squad hops out there and keeps it chill. Just fire that biscuit. Someone's posting up near the net for a tip, screen, redirect, or rebound, just stirring up mad chaos. And boom, it's in. Benny cleans up on a blocked slap shot, but all that traffic's jamming towards the net. He feels it. Goalies feel the heat coming at him, trying to sort it all out, and bam, goal. Like my boys would say, those top shelf plays are sweet, but the grimy goals count too. We got to get those. Now, the Red Wings are on their way to New Jersey to play the Devils tonight, a team that has been quite competitive, and it'll be a tough road game, but maybe we'll get a couple of those grimy goals to go in and get past the netminder. Now, the Red Wings are first place, so obviously it's a good note to end on. This has been Red Wings Daily. I am your host, Kirk MckNight, author of The Voices of Hockey, Broadcasters Reflect on the Fastest Game on Earth. Go check it out, folks. It's available on Audible now. 65 NHL play-by-play broadcasters, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of hits, all kinds of Red Wings. So as I like to say, LGRW from the PNW.